or state income tax, and you're going to find a lot of anger in Tennessee. They are talking about that there. Today, the debate over the state's proposal, budget problem, drags on one day after the Tennessee legislature overrode a governor's veto to try to perhaps impose a state income tax. Let's get right to the discussion, since clearly we don't have the videotape we were going to show you. Joining us now from Nashville, we have two sides of this opinion. Eric Cole, the director of Tennessee Citizen Action, which is pushing for fair taxation, and Bill Hobbs with the Tennessee Institute for Public Policy. His group favors spending reform and is against new taxes. Eric, we're going to go ahead and start with you, okay?
Okay.
You say no state income tax in Tennessee, and I'm telling you, a lot of people across America are like, you're kidding? We are moving to Tennessee. Hard to push for more taxes and in imposing a state income tax, I would imagine.
Well, it is a little difficult, Darren, but when you consider that we're 50th in the country in education spending, 49th in the country in spending on teacher pay, and 50th in the country in community-based long-term care for elderly and disabled Tennesseans, it's not that hard to sell. We're not taking care of basic services for Tennesseans, and we've got a taxation structure that, frankly, impacts low-income people much worse than it does upper-income people.
First, let's talk about that future and go to Bill. Bill, the governor, pointing out, as he sees it, Tennesseans are not making a good choice here, that you're not looking at your future, you're not looking at education, you're not looking at kids. Do you think that you're selling those groups short?
No, actually I don't. We've been debating this issue now since February of 1999, when the governor first flip-flopped on his promise to oppose an income tax and actually came out and proposed an income tax. And ever since then we've been debating these issues in the state, and there is absolutely no evidence, no credible evidence, that the people of this state want an income tax. It violates the state constitution.
What about the point that Eric made right before he was talking about the future, the idea of fair burden? Right now, most of that tax money comes in through a sales tax, which some would say, and maybe Eric you can point out here, that it's an unfair burden on the poor, that people who can not afford it as much are paying taxes through taxes on food and clothing and other items like that.
The sales tax is the only tax that is the fairest way to hit every taxpayer. It's also a bit of a misdirection to say that because we have a sales tax and not an income tax, that the rich aren't paying, or the upper middle class aren't paying their fair share.
Eric, why don't you jump in here? You're saying that they're not paying, or they're not paying their fair share?
They're not paying their fair share. If you look at percentage of income and how much they pay as a percentage of their income, you will find people that pay less than the average salary in Tennessee, and even down to the poverty level, are paying a much larger proportion of their weekly paycheck on a sales tax than folks at the upper end of the bracket. The basic issue is that folks that are at a lower income level spend more on clothes, on groceries and food, basic necessities, as a percentage of their income than folks at the higher end.
Bill, do you agree with those numbers?
You know, there's different ways to look at it. Tennessee's budget, 2/3 of Tennessee's budget is actually